My name's Chris, this is my couch, I talk about books. I've never done an intro like that, ever. I have a topic today that I'm not super familiar on how to discuss topics like this. I watch a lot of content creators talk or do these conversational videos, and I'm gonna be so honest, I'm not very comfortable with these. I'm comfortable showing you books, talking about what I'm reading, and not talking about the news. I want to talk to you about the Barnes & Noble Shelving AI books drama. I went and did a little bit of digging, some information, and I have my own input on this. So that's what we're discussing today. Forgive me if I have no idea how to put this content out there. I have this entire script written because I'm not very good at conversational. I use a lot of filler words in my stuff. I added a lot of filler words out of my videos, so just bear with me here. Okay, if you're here for the long ride, let's talk about this. First of all, let's talk about what I'm comfortable talking about. These are the current graphic novels I'm reading right now. I'm reading this Halo graphic novel that has a bunch of different artists, and it's been really interesting because I never got a chance to really play Halo. So I'm reading a little bit about it, and then I might convince my husband to play Halo with me, which I'm sure he'll be thrilled about. And then I'm reading this comic book guide to growing food. Some of you know I'm an avid gardener. This actually does a great job of simplifying it. I just kind of picked it up to see how it is. I've been gardening for a long time. And so this is a great start to gardening if you are looking for a way to get into gardening. This breaks it down really easily. I got this from my local library, of course, so there we are. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty part that I'm not very comfortable talking about, but let's do it. If you are living under a rock, or just don't pay too much attention to the bullshit that goes on online, I don't blame you. Barnes & Noble CEO James Daunt has decided that he wants to shelf AI written or AI assisted books in Barnes & Noble. I think, and the majority of the book community think, this is a terrible idea. Quoted from NBC News was the quote, "No problem selling any book, as long as it doesn't masquerade or pretend to be something that it isn't." Now, this is quite the phrase that could be taken out of context. I'm sure of it, but given the context, it's still not good. I don't think that AI-assisted, AI-written books are anything more than already masquerading and pretending to be books that they aren't. They're plagiarizing off of books that are already written. As most of us know, AI just takes and steals from its surroundings. The statement alone, in context, isn't great. Apologies, I'm not good at this. Now, I'm late to this discussion because I never intended for this to be the type of content that I make. But here I am, making this type of content because I do feel strongly about this. Many people online are already calling for a boycott on Barnes & Noble, one that I think we should do and one that I agree on. I truly believe that the majority of you have enough on your TBRs to last through a decently long boycott, enough to make this man reconsider his decisions. And that is enough. I think there's a lot of rhetoric in the sense that people talk about, well, you're one person, you can't make a difference, but you can. There are so many book talk people that buy special editions, that purchase multiple books, hundreds of thousands of dollars of books, and one of you makes a large impact when you stop. But I also know a lot of you have plenty of content that you can pull from. And I want to call on you to maybe start doing that. Take it into consideration, because I don't want to see AI-written books in bookstores. I truly, truly don't. And I don't believe many of you do. But I also know that there's this notion online that one person can't make a difference. One person can make a difference, because then if every person that thinks that they can't make a difference stops, that's more than one person. And I truly believe that you guys can. The only reason this company and this CEO is making as much money as he is because of you, the readers, the influencers, the content creators, all of these people that have come together to make this community, the subgenres that come along with it. You are the impact that has created this industry. Because without the readers, without the content creators, without the influencers, we wouldn't be here. These companies wouldn't be booming like they are now. In 2020, when we were bored in the house bored, you guys and myself, we went, well, shit, why not immerse ourselves in reading something so that we're out of the current situation that we're in? And then the uprise of influencer and content creators came out because we were reading again. And it has since, even outside of COVID and 2020 in general, it has boomed more and more and more. People are getting PR mail, ARCs, publishing mail. All of these special editions are coming out. These things have impacted these booksellers because you guys wanted it. We don't want the AI books. It's very clear. And shit, in 2020, the hashtag book talk really blew up, and it's still huge. Still a huge thing now. You have the power to change things. Truly. And James Daunt is a dumb bitch, thinking that this is what the readers want. And I don't understand where he's getting this notion from, to be completely honest. But moving forward, James feels that his initial backlash has him misrepresented and misinterpreted via the quote. Now, I would also be misinterpreting and misrepresenting James Daunt if I also didn't give you the second half of this quote, which gives us a little more knowledge on what Barnes & Noble intends to do through his statement through NBC News. The second quote by James Daunt through NBC News is, "So long as an AI-written book says it's AI-written book and doesn't pretend to be something else and isn't ripping somebody else, as long as that's clearly stated and the customer wants to buy it, then we will stock them." Why does this man talk like an AI? Because there's so many run-on sentences, but I also know this directly quoted from an interview, so it just kind of cracked me up. But here's the thing. We don't want the AI books, and I don't know where this notion's coming from. The call is not coming from inside the house. There are so many book talk people that have already started talking about this discussion, and discussing the fact that none of us wanted this to begin with. Like I said, the call's clearly not coming in from inside the house, so at this point, who is paying this man off? And this is all speculation. James Daunt wants them to be advertised or disclose that they are AI written. And that's a little better, but I still don't like it. There's still more that goes along with this. Part of this is a while ago, I remember an interview I read with a person discussing how they had written multiple books with AI and published them. Self-published through, I believe, Amazon. I could be wrong. And they sold pretty well, but then eventually they had to disclose that they were written with AI, and their sales plummeted. Now, I couldn't find the article I originally read, or even anything on it. So, at this point, you're gonna have to trust me, dude, this situation. Which is not good marketing on my part. I didn't say I was good at this. If someone can find me that article, please link it in the comments, because I could not find it to save my life. But I swear I've read it and heard a lot about it, and I just can't seem to find it now. Regardless, readers don't want AI, and AI writers, they're not going to sell. I don't... Why are we stalking things? This also brings into an entirely different discussion, is how do the authors feel about this? Because having your work shelved next to AI garbage, that's a whole different ballgame. I wouldn't even know how I would feel about that, because I'd probably be pretty pissed, but also I'm on a moral superiority here, because I didn't have to use the AI slop garbage that's destroying our fucking Earth. Like I said, I'm not very good at this kind of content, but I do feel strongly about this being a bad decision on Barnes & Noble's part. I've looked into some articles, I've listened to other people. I'm forming my own opinions, but I've always already been an avid AI hater. As an artist, as a reader, and as a writer, I just don't see this benefiting anyone. We're already in a day and age where the publishing industry is trying to keep up with reader demand. And reader demand is making the publishing industry skirt some things maybe they shouldn't be. Like the fact that there's so many misspellings and run-on sentences in everyday books that's what's supposed to get edited out. it feels like we're rushing to the next big hit, but AI writing is not the way to go. And that's how I feel. And I feel like that's how a lot of people feel. I don't really know how to end this, because this is kind of different from my normal content. But, I don't like it. And if the CEO, James Daunt, doesn't reverse the decision, I personally probably won't be shopping through Barnes & Noble. At my end of the year book haul, when I get through most of my TBR, I'm going to go through independent sellers. I'm going to go through third-party services, like thrift books for used books, because that's where most of my books come from. But that also puts a damper on the availability of books. Because Barnes & Noble is kind of like the last standing big corporate bookstore. And not all of the local bookstores get the special editions. So I'm really hoping that our community comes together and makes this work. Because I don't think this is a good decision, and I don't think it's going to benefit us. Because at the end of the day, how long is it before they stop disclosing that it's AI written? Because it doesn't sell well. That's just my take on that. So, that's how I feel. Like I said, I don't really know how to end this one, so I guess that's all I have. Form your own opinion. Make some decisions. Consider the options. That's what I got.